Hello everyone, my name is Bob, and a very happy Empire Strikes Back Day to you all. Today is the anniversary release of The Empire Strikes Back. Yes, Episode 5, or to most people, the second movie in the Star Wars saga that was released. It was released in the UK today, and it had a limited US release in big cities. Today, I thought we would do something a little bit different. Maybe not that different, because we've been doing a lot of Star Wars this week. But let's talk about the Star Wars 375-inch Black Series figures. Yes, these are the 375-inch Black Series figures. This is a 6-inch Black Series figure. These were a limited run that they were doing these at Walmart's. You could get these at Toys R Us. It was kind of a weird thing. Some places had them exclusively. Other places had them all over the place. I saw these characters, these figures actually at a Wegmans at one point. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird. I thought they were only at Target. I thought they were only at Walmart. So the Black Series in this line would eventually become the Star Wars Vintage Collection line. So we've dealt with that recently. Like, here's a Vintage Collection Stormtrooper Han Solo in disguise. The face sculpts are better, the articulation's better than a standard regular 5 points of articulation figure, which is what this Stormtrooper is here from Rogue One. We just did the Mandalorian yesterday. He was a Vintage Collection figure. Just show you the packaging, one of these kind of deals. But this is a little bit older. Now, a friend of mine, Tim Hospodor, who is known on Instagram as... he sent me these figures as a thank you the one day, and I was like, oh, this is great. Love these figures. I just realized about a month ago that this Luke and this Yoda are part of the 3-pack that Hasbro had put out as another... They put them out as a special. You got Darth Vader, Luke, and Yoda. It was a Jedi Dagobah 3-pack for Empire Strikes Back. Those figures were not met with a lot of praise. And the main reason is this Luke, who is identical, has these gigantic joints in his arms. Now, they're giving Luke the outfit as he was like working out and training to be a Jedi. But these arms were not met with a lot of praise because of the joints. And a lot of fans just kind of are like, well, wait, you're just re-releasing these figures again. Yes, they're just re-releasing the figures. So I thought today we would tackle, now these here themselves were released in 2014. As you can see, they were $10.95 in the US, $11.95 in Canada. This is usually like a Disney store kind of mark. That they have these double tags on there like that. So these two here are from 2014. Now, I'm not going to open this one. This is the Darth Vader Black Series figure. And he is from, I believe, also from 2014. This is the Vader with the mask that breaks off and it reveals Luke is underneath. I'm going to keep this one in the package. I do really like the cloth cape, though. I just kind of noticed that now. But I'm going to hold on to this one. We're just going to deal with Luke and Yoda today. So let's get to it. Here we go. So, oh yeah, look at that. The glue has come off, which was another main reason why I figured we might as well just review these bad boys because the glue in the last 6 years has worn off. So we'll get to Yoda here and take him out of the plastic coffin. Now, I would like to say that this is... when Tim gave them to me this way, they were not this way. This is just a matter of time, and they were sitting probably in some extreme temperatures. But I am going to keep the card. Really do like it. So we'll put that with our collection of cards. And we do have... Now, accessories for Yoda are pretty cool. We do have this little backpack for Yoda to sit in. Probably good to use this for the Mandalorian. And as you can see, we have shoulder harness here for Luke. We also have a little tiny clip for him to plug it into. So this is some fine details here. And the cloth itself is nice. We do have some nice little lines here to give it some definition and some nice color shots. So that's pretty cool. Now, I can remember the first time that I got... Let's take this to the side. I remember the first time that I actually got my Yoda figure when I was a kid. I think it was after I had seen the movie. And it was just one of those awesome figures to get, the original Yoda. This one, I really like this one. The details here are amazing. Now, I wish that the jacket or the cloth jacket here would fold back a little bit. It seems like over time this will tarnish. But as you can see into his sleeve, he does have that other layer of clothing on. See, there it is. And I like the fact that they actually painted the nails but you know, the sleeves themselves seem like they're a little big. I'd rather have shorter sleeves where you could see his hands better than what this is. So the belt isn't, you know, very straightforward. Got little pouches and stuff. No little light on this. So as you can see, we do have the Yoda thing underneath. And the thing with Yoda is he's very, very old. So why couldn't this also be the Yoda that you use for Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones? Now we do have a couple little accessories here, which I think are kind of funny because we don't come with a little flashlight. And I was surprised that they didn't do that. But here we have, I'm guessing this is the little necklace kind of thing that Yoda has around his neck. But I'll be damned if I'd have to pull his head off to get it on. And that works. Why this just wasn't attached is a whole other thing. So that came off really quick and easy. And then he comes with a cane. And then, as I said earlier, it'd be nice if the sleeves of this, take a look at the cane here, one of the hardest parts to find if you had the old Kenner figure. And then, of course, there were different colored snakes and the whole bit. So he doesn't really have a hand that I can grab this with. Is it this one? So it's kind of interesting that they gave him something to hold and yet can't really hold it. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma that your sleeves here are. So Yoda doesn't even have a thumb on this hand, so that's great. The thumb on this hand didn't hold it. So what are you supposed to do with this figure? So a little stickum, little contact squares would probably be a good idea, but as you can see, I'm running into an issue where I'm not able to quite pose him with the cane. Of those little rubber bands that they usually come with figures, I'm surprised that it just didn't have him have it in the cane, on the cane. I mean, that's me fudging it right there. Look how little that guy is. So another problem that I've been discussing lately around the office is these figures, this is $10.95. This, at the time, Luke was $10.95. And Yoda was $10.95. That is not the same amount of plastic. That is not the same amount of detail. And, I mean, look at this. The weight of this to this, it's got to be, this has two of these at least. But the price is the same. So what are we paying for here? Are we paying for the name, the character? We are not paying by the weight and the plastic. We are not paying by the details. Obviously, he doesn't even have a thumb that can hold this cape. This cane, but Luke comes with a blaster, a lightsaber without the blade lit, extra hands, extra points of articulation. So it seems like there's this weird line where either Hasbro expects us that all the money is going to work out in the end if you buy every figure, or they're just saying, haha, we sold so many more Yodas and made more money. So I think that figures should actually start being prorated based on the amount of plastic that you get and the amount of details that you get. Obviously, they do that. The difference between a standard 375 figure, which they're fading these out, and this was about, I think these were somewhere between $6.99 and $9.99 at retail stores, in relation to a vintage collection figure, which was anywhere from $12.99 to $16.99, depending on what retail store you were getting him at. So here you're paying more for him. And then here you have this other cheaper figure. So if they're doing that or did that, why can't we get a Yoda that's only $6.99 and this Luke in the same line is $10.95? So it's something that really has to be addressed, and it's becoming a pet peeve of mine. It's something that I'm really starting to get into and discuss. The weight of a Spider-Man figure in the same size in relation to the Thing from Fantastic Four, the figures cost the same, but the price to ship them and everything has got to be vastly different. So we'll get the Luke out here. You're not going to see many vintage collection figures nowadays that come with extra hands. So we do have these extra little hands, and trust me, I'm going to bag these little guys up that they are not going to be lost. And I do put everything into these little bags like this to keep track of it, and then I'll take like smaller things, put them in a smaller bag, and then stick the figure inside a much bigger bag and keep all of their details and everything, so that if I want to do photography, if I want to do a setup, I want to do a retro review and do a comparison, I'm able to do it. It's just one of those things that as a toy collector, as I've gotten to this point, keeping track of weapons and all of their little accessories is great, but you want to pull them out. You want to make sure that you have all these things for down the road, especially if you fall on hard times or you just want to get rid of it or you want to trade it. You've got more to bargain with if you actually have. And here's all of his hands. No, I only have his fists, so I can't actually hold any of the weapons that he comes with. However, you got to wonder about the mentality and the design of trying to get something into these packages, shipping it to your customers, and then running the risk of it actually breaking because you're pulling it out of the case. So let's do an instant pose with Luke. Oh man, they're very thin, very thin. So we can do the him trying. So there's the. I mean, it is what it is. It's the lack of having a shirt. And it just makes them so obvious. And they do feel very, I mean, just out of the package, it's very kind of flimsy. So the nice thing is here, so this is funny. So we have a clip for him to hang his lightsaber, but yet nothing for the actual lightsaber to clip onto. So we have a little dot, and this dot, which has been made famous by all the different Phantom Menace characters and stuff that have come out before, that it could actually like attach itself to the belt. But here there is no place for that to go. Very strange and unusual. I guess you could probably stick it back there. Nope. So very weird. I do appreciate, as we've been discussing lately, a holster. So the gun does fit in the holster. Your weapons, you will not need them. But we are going to change his hands here and rock the lightsaber for this. So kind of funny that Yoda really didn't cover any lightsaber training, and yet that was the first thing that really kind of Luke had to deal with when he fought Vader. So I love the articulation here on the hands, that we're actually able to hold the lightsaber with a double hands. Usually you can't do that. So that's a nice part of this articulation. But can I get it? The thumb is kind of, it's like holding a baseball bat. The thumb is kind of interfering. All right. So it always amazes me that you go through this whole process, that these people design these toys, and yet you can't do anything. Oh, that's great articulation there. I'm scratching my shoulder. That's kind of nice. And then you bring it over here. I mean, these are the poses that you want to do. So you start with this as a design. You know, I got to have him hold the saber like he is in all the publicity photos. You know, it's just not working. And that's how you design hands. And that's why you make them, that you start there and then you work your way back. It's just dropping left and right. So really not a thrill ride there. Trying to get that in. The gun is right. We got Luke's scope is on the side. No trigger finger, even though we have a trigger. But not that he fired it much on Tatooine, but he did draw it. Not Tatooine, on Dagobah, but he did draw it. So not the best figure, and I think maybe this is why a lot of the fans who had actually opened this figure and took it out of the pack, they kind of realized that we weren't really getting that posable of a figure to begin with. Now the last thing we'll do here is we'll give Luke the backpack. So the nice thing too is, if you ever had these backpack figures, you just kind of have to take their arms straight back. Though I don't know if that would really matter with the points of articulation here we had. The old one, I love the old one. The old one was straightforward, always fit on Luke. Granted, it was Bespin Luke. He didn't really come with the sleeves off. And they are making a Black Series version of this Luke, and you actually get Yoda. It's a 2-pack, and it's actually available now to order. So it's kind of nice that you can already get this. So we click this on here, this great detail there. These two figures should actually come together, which is kind of, it's nice that they've caught up with that on the Black Series. But there we have Luke and Yoda in the 2-pack, in the backpack. And then we gotta give the Gonna give the running. Is the dark side stronger? So can he stand without a stand? It's a little rough. Little rough. No, I have a stand here, but I hate using stands, and he is on a bit of a curve. We're gonna go a little bit. And he shouldn't look like his legs are all over the place just to make this thing work. And by the way, the new one coming out, the Black Series version, that Luke can actually do the handstand that he's training with. All right, for a split second we had it. Now, granted, it is uneven, but it should work, and it's not. So, well, I'm going to give up here on this and trying to get this Luke together. But I figured what we would do is today we would do a special kind of a retro thing where we would bring out a playset for a change. Take a look at this. This is the original Kenner Dagobah playset. So if you see this, this is where the sand would go into, the R2 would fall into. We'd have a Yoda here. Stands perfectly fine by himself there. And then we can take Luke out of this, out of the backpack. And a hand and arm just came off. Now, it didn't break, but it came out of the ball joint, which it really shouldn't do at that angle. But it's, I can see why a lot of people were upset that this was kind of a rehash. This was the 2014 figure, and the figure that came out, for Force Friday back in October was pretty much a disappointment for people. So here we have Luke. If we can get him to stand on this thing. Oh, wow, look at that. Luke stands better on this. By the way, we'll go full on here. Got the whole dimension going on here. This is kind of fun. So it's fun to actually play with your toys and get these things together. And then these are the weird little accessories that this comes with, so that if Luke is using the Force, you press this and they float. Pretty neat, right? So that's cool. And then here's the actual backpack from the original, and then this is what you're getting here. Gotta wash that out. Look how cruddy that is. So what do you want? It's 44. It's 40 years old. Here's the modern day backpack. So this is Bob from Total Toy Recon. I can see why everybody is very upset with these figures. I'm impressed that they stand on this base in Yoda's little Dagobah house. So I really like that. But I can see why people are upset. The figure, the arm came off. We had problems just posing him with the lightsaber like this. Good figure for the, you want to do the lightsaber reach where he's trying to get, not lightsaber reach, the Force reach where he's trying to get the X-Wing out of the swamp. But other than that, you're going to need a stand to make him stand up with Yoda. So again, this is Bob from Total Toy Recon. I'm wishing you a happy Empire Strikes Back Day. This is our special review that we did for the day.